Hello, everyone. Have you ever used a small, colorful paper note that sticks to things and then peels off easily? Of course you have. It's called a post-it note. You see them everywhere on computer monitors, in books, on refrigerators. They are simple, useful, and colorful. But did you know that the post-it note was invented by accident? It was actually a big mistake made by a scientist trying to create something completely different. Today, we are going to tell the amazing story of how a failed invention became one of the most successful office products in history. It's a story about a little bit of luck, a smart singer, and a sticky idea that changed the way we work and organize our lives. Our story begins in 1968 at a big science company called 3M in the United States. There was a scientist named Spencer Silver. He was trying to invent a super strong adhesive, a very powerful glue. He wanted to make a glue that could hold things together permanently, forever. He worked very hard in his laboratory. He mixed many chemicals. Finally, he created a new type of adhesive, but it was not super strong. It was the opposite. It was a low-tack adhesive. This meant it was very weak. It could stick to things, but it could also be pulled off very easily without leaving any marks. And the most interesting thing was you could stick it again and again. Spencer Silver thought, "Oh no, this is a failure. This glue is not strong enough for anything." He had invented a glue that was permanently temporary. He didn't know what to do with it. He called it microspheres. He tried to tell his colleagues about his weak glue. He gave presentations. He showed how it worked. But nobody understood it. They all thought, "Why would we need a glue that doesn't stick well?" So for 5 years, Spencer Silver's invention sat on the shelf. It was a good idea, but it was waiting for a problem to solve. Then the story moves to 1974. Another scientist at 3M named Arthur Fry was having a problem. Arthur was a chemical engineer, but he also sang in his church choir. Every Sunday when he sang in the choir, he used small pieces of paper to mark the pages in his hymnal, his songbook. But the paper bookmarks kept falling out. This was very annoying for Arthur. He kept losing his place in the songbook. One Sunday during the service, he remembered Spencer Silver's presentation about his weak glue. Suddenly, a light bulb went off in his head. He thought, what if I used Spencer's weak glue on the back of my paper bookmarks? Then they would stick to the pages, but they wouldn't damage the book when I pulled them off. Arthur was very excited. This was a perfect use for the failed glue. Arthur Fry started experimenting. He took Spencer Silver's adhesive and put it on yellow paper. He made small sticky notes for himself. They worked perfectly. His bookmarks stayed in place, and he could move them from page to page. He started using them for everything. He put notes on his office papers, on his desk, on his refrigerator. He realized that this was not just a bookmark. It was a new way to communicate and organize. He thought, this is not just a bookmark. This is a message that you can stick anywhere. He tried to convince 3M to make these sticky notes. But again, people at 3M were unsure. They thought, who needs these little sticky papers? They said, we already have strong glues. What is the market for weak glue? Arthur Fry didn't give up. He started giving sticky notes to his colleagues at 3M. He let them use the notes for a week. And guess what? After a week, his colleagues couldn't live without them. They used them to write messages, to mark important pages, to remind themselves of tasks. They said, "We need more of these." This was the proof. People loved them. But there was one small problem. The notes were originally white, but a coworker in the lab had only yellow scrap paper. So they used yellow paper, and that famous canary yellow color stuck. It became the iconic color of the Post-it note. In 1977, 3M decided to test market the sticky notes in 4 cities. The sales were not good. People didn't understand what they were. They didn't know how to use them. So Arthur Fry and his team tried a new strategy. They gave away free samples to offices in Boise, Idaho. They said, "Just try them for a week." And the response was incredible. 90% of the people who tried them said they would buy them. This was the turning point. In 1980, 3M officially launched the Post-it note nationwide. It was an instant success. It quickly became a global phenomenon. The Post-it note was celebrated as an amazing invention. It won many awards. It was even displayed in art museums. It changed the way people brainstormed ideas, left messages, and managed their daily lives. From busy offices to homes and schools, the little sticky note became a simple but powerful tool. Spencer Silver's failure and Arthur Fry's problem combined to create something truly revolutionary. It taught us that a mistake is not always a bad thing. Sometimes a mistake can be the beginning of a great idea. It taught us to look at problems with new eyes. And it taught us that sometimes the best solution is a simple one. Today, more than 50 billion Post-it notes are sold every year. They come in hundreds of colors, shapes, and sizes. They are a constant reminder that innovation doesn't always have to be complex. Sometimes it's just a weak glue that finds its perfect purpose. So, next time you write a note on a Post-it, remember the sticky mistake. Remember the scientist who failed to make strong glue, and the singer who just wanted his bookmarks to stay. Their story shows us that even the smallest ideas, or even a perceived failure, can have the biggest impact. Thank you for joining us on this sticky and sweet journey. We hope you enjoyed this story of a brilliant accident. See you in the next episode.